John Noble from motorsport.com to all the drivers. One of the issues at the end of last year was some question marks about the racing rules and who had the right to racing room, how much room had to be left on the exit of corners and entries of corners. Do you think, as we have some new race directors this year, it's an issue that can be addressed, and do we need to go to some proper kind of racing rules and definitions of who has rights to corners so there's less confusion among kind of the fans as well?
Why don't we go from right to left? Nicholas, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think last year it was clear with some of the racing actions. I guess amongst the drivers, the feeling wasn't always the most consistent calls. Sometimes a driver gets away with, say, forcing another driver off the track without a penalty. Other times involve the penalty. So I think, there's obviously been some changes now within the FIA. New race directors, and I think they're going to be putting in place some new measures. They're talking about this new kind of virtual assistance race control. So I think there's going to be a process to hopefully improve the consistency, and I'm sure in terms of what is and isn't allowed, maybe one of the first drivers' meetings, I'm sure there'll be some chats amongst us all to try and get some clarification on that, so we know from race one what's allowed and what's not.
Well, I think it's a bit in the nature of our sport. It's not like football where everything is a lot clearer. Here, every incident is very different, and it's very hard for the stewards to make decisions. But I think as long as we can have consistency within the stewards, to have them more consistently in the races, the same people, and I think we also have to support the new race director that comes in. Because it obviously takes time, but it's in the nature of our sport that it's always a debate in it. It's not as straightforward as other sports.
I want to see more women in the stewards' room. I think we don't have any. I think maybe last year was one or two, and I think it would be awesome for them to have a male and a female as the two race directors. I think the two race directors are talking about doing, and I think that's a great way of promoting diversity too.
Daniel?
Not much more to say. I think it's always it's never that. I think as Checo says, never that easy as well, because also you've then got, I think probably amongst all of us drivers, we're probably in line with what we think is, like, let's say, the way to go racing, but there will still be a bit of a difference of also what's kind of forcing and what's not. So it's even between us, it's not always that straightforward. So it's not an easy job, but I think if there is some, at least that kind of level of consistency, then that's all we can ask, and then we know a little bit better, let's say, what's right from wrong. That's it.
I just want to add, we need to make sure we get non-biased stewards too. Race drivers, some are very, very good friends with certain individuals. Some travel with certain individuals and tend to take a more keen liking to some of them. So I think just people who are not, that have just no biasness and super central when it comes to making decisions.
And Guanyu, this is a slightly difficult one for you to answer, the new boy, but any thoughts?
Well, I think in general, motorsports, Express F2 last year was pretty much quite consistency. I think consistency is always one of the key, especially with decisions. But of course, like the others already mentioned, that in our sports it's never easy to be that consistent, because all the actions will be taking place or will be a bit slightly different. But as a driver, all I can ask for is just keep it consistent when we set the rules, and I think we still can race hard and race clean. That's all.